Cool.
Yeah. Good morning, guys. Thank you so much for joining this webinar. My name is Vera. I'm Corporate Services Specialist from Virtuzone, and I'm happy to introduce our esteemed partner, Jan from Mortgage Finder. Good morning, Jan. How is it going?
Good morning, Vera. All good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so basically, Jan is going to talk about how Mortgage Finder can assist you guys with obtaining a mortgage in the UAE, and I'm going to talk about how Virtuzone can help you to get your golden visa through Property Road. So we have already 27 attendees, so I believe we can start now.
Thank you, Vera. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Now, the subject of home finance, or what is more commonly known as a mortgage, isn't the most riveting of subjects, just like science on a school day, perhaps, where most of the lesson is quite tedious until right at the very end when all of the chemicals are mixed and the colourful explosions happen. So today I will breeze through a quick and very general overview of the UAE mortgage market so that ultimately between my colleague Sam and myself, we can then do more of a deep dive into any specific questions that you may have. And perhaps Sam can also add some interesting data as well. Also, keep your telephones ready as a QR code with my contact details will be shown, which you can subsequently use to contact me directly with any more personal queries that you may have. So who are we? Mortgage Finder is part of the Property Finder group, and we are empaneled with all of the major UAE banks, which allows us to provide impartial, independent advice to our clients. We have vast experience amongst the team, and I have been a mortgage advisor personally for the last 25 years, with the last 10 years being here in Dubai. We also have a team of administrators who allow us and help us to process over 4,000 mortgage applications per annum here in the UAE. And please do feel free to look us up on Google, where you have over 700 genuine reviews. What can we do for you? In terms of our professional services, we allow you to, or guide you and support you to go through the whole of the mortgage process, which can, on some occasions, be quite laborious and painstaking, certainly with dealing with the UAE banks here. In the first instance, we provide a one-to-one consultation with our clients, obtaining as much information as possible to then allow us to issue a comprehensive mortgage simulation report showing the best banks and products available to meet the client's specific requirements. Subsequently, a second call or a meeting to discuss the options in full and in detail then allows the customer to come to an informed decision as to which bank is best suited to meet their requirements. Then the process involves a collection of documentation and information that allows us to complete an application form on the client's behalf to then submit a full file to the chosen bank for pre-approval. Now, the pre-approval process does depend on a client's individual circumstances, and it also depends on which bank we utilize. Some banks, for example, where there is a salary employee working for a major international company, we can obtain pre-approvals in 1 or 2 days. But with more complicated cases, such as self-employed applications or non-residents self-employed applications, then the pre-approval process can typically take 1 month, even 6 or 8 weeks. Now, once the pre-approval has been obtained, the next step of the process would be to instruct the valuation on the subject property, which is carried out by an independent surveyor, who would be on the bank's panel of surveyors. And once the valuation report is received by the bank, then we would be requesting the final offer of mortgage letter. Now, depending upon whether the seller of the property has a mortgage on the property, then that seller would need to obtain a liability letter, and the buyer's bank would then need to make a payment to the seller's bank to clear that liability. And once the clearance documents are then received, the agent and the seller would be requesting the NOC from the developer to allow the property transfer to take place once the funds are released from the buyer's bank. Now, we are able to provide support to any type of customer, whether they are residents or non-residents, and whether they are salaried employees or self-employed business owners. And being unable to work with all of the banks here in the UAE, it's very, very rare that we are unable to place an application, a client with a specific bank to obtain the pre-approval. The typical loan to values here in the UAE, which are directed by the UAE Central Bank, typically for UAE nationals, for any property purchase below 5 million, there would need to be a 15% down payment. For any property below 5 million dirhams, then the loan to value is capped at 75%. And for any second or subsequent property purchased by way of mortgage finance, that would be limited to 65%. Now, for expats, the minimum down payment would need to be 20% on a property below 5 million, and any property purchase above 5 million, the minimum down payment needs to be 30%. And again, for any second or subsequent property purchase, the down payment would need to be 40%. However, there are some banks that we can work with that we may be able to switch that around so that the second property purchase becomes a 20% down payment. Now, for non-residents, typically the down payment will need to be between 40 and 50%. Again, with some banks, we may be able to push that up to 70, 75%, depending upon a client's profile. Off-plan properties is slightly different. The two major bits of criteria for an off-plan property purchase would be that the build stage of the property would need to be at 50%, and also the first 50% of the agreed purchase price would need to be funded from the client's own resources. Now, although we work with all of the banks here in UAE, not all banks would be prepared to offer finance to a non-resident. Now, again, typically the non-resident policies across the banks would be varied in terms of the documents required. Sometimes it's a full document scenario. However, with some of the banks here, they do offer a low document option, which means that invariably the only documents that will be required will be a copy of passport, last 6 months personal bank statements, and a copy of a trade license for self-employed business owners, or a salary certificate for a salaried employee. But again, just to confirm, ordinarily the maximum lending would be cut at 60%. The maximum mortgage term for non-residents and indeed residents is capped at 25 years. And for self-employed people, the mortgage tenure should end at age 70. And for salaried employees, it should end at 65. Again, with some of the banks, we may be able to push that up to age 70, but with a maximum of 25-year term. The self-employed policies across the banks, again, varies. Some banks would require a company or a trade license to have been set up for a minimum of 5 years and with at least 2 years audited financials. There are some banks that only base the affordability calculations on VAT returns for the past 12 months or 24 months. Although, again, there is a low document option across a small handful of banks where the business tenure would only need to have been for 6 months only. But the terms and conditions are particularly appealing, with a cap on lending at 60% and interest rates circa 6.25%. Over to you, Vera.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jan, for sharing such interesting insight about mortgage. I think it's really important for people to understand the process and mostly importantly to let professionals help with such a difficult process.
Absolutely.
So guys, again, just to let you know, you have Q&A section where you can leave all the questions you might have, both related to golden visa processes and mortgages. So we'll leave some time to the end of our webinar, and me and Jan, we will be answering your questions. So to give you a brief about Virtuzon, I'm pretty much sure a lot of you know about our company, but we are the biggest corporate services provider in the UAE with over than 15 years of experience. And we are assisting with a lot of services, starting from business setup, bank account opening, visa services, tax and accounting. So, but again, as we are mostly talking about golden visas through Property Road today, let me brief you about what golden visa is. So basically it's 10-year resident visa in the UAE. This golden visa program was launched around 5 years ago, and it offers long-term residency in the UAE and gives you an opportunity to live, work, and study in the UAE. So Virtuzon team is processing around 100 applications per month. So talking about benefits of having a golden visa. So first of all, it's issued for 10 years, right? So you don't have to renew it each 2 years. So again, you don't need to spend time and your funds on it. So you can see there is an economic savings over 10 years. Moreover, you don't need to come to the UAE each 6 months for your visa to be active. It's not required, which is also very good insight for people who don't really want to constantly live in here, but still they want to use benefits of being a UAE resident. So then you'll be able to sponsor your family members, your kids, your spouse, and your parents for 10 years. So you'll also have access to exclusive discounts on some services, such as driver's license, insurance, and healthcare. There were some changes implemented in Dubai in 2023 and 2024. So some recent updates for you to note. So first of all, Dubai Land Department removed the requirement of minimum payment to be qualified for golden visa. It used to be the requirement that you need to pay at least 1 million out of 2 to be eligible for golden visa. Now it's not required anymore, which is really great. Then you have an opportunity to reevaluate your property, which means that, let's say, if you purchase property, let's say 1 or 2 years ago, and it was less than 2 million, there is a great chance that today the property has reached 2 million already. And again, we can assist you with getting valuation certificate done through Dubai Land Department. And yeah, in this case, you would be qualified for 10-year golden visa. One more change is that even if you have an off-plan property, you still can be qualified for golden visa. There were some changes for another type of golden visa based on high salary. It became more strict. But in terms of golden visa based on property road, as you can see, it looks like Dubai Land Department is giving more opportunities to people to get golden visa. So who can qualify for golden visa through property road specifically? First of all, owners of property with value of 2 million dirhams or more. So again, the list of required documents does depend on whether you have off-plan property or fully constructed. So talking about off-plan property, you for sure can be qualified. You would just need to provide us with statement of account where it's confirmed how much you already paid for the property and a code issued by Dubai Land Department. Then if the property is mortgaged, it's not a problem at all. Again, as I mentioned, the Dubai Land Department removed the requirement with minimum amount which should be paid up. So the only difference, if we are processing golden visa through property road and the property is mortgaged, you will need to request NOC from the bank addressed to Dubai Land Department, where the bank just needs to confirm that they have no objection for you to get golden visa. So in case the property is fully constructed, you'll need to provide your title deed. And as again, I already mentioned, if the property was purchased for less than 2 million, but the current value has already reached 2 million or probably more, you will need to get valuation certificate issued by Dubai Land Department for the process. So talking about eligibility criteria in Dubai, the property should be under the individual's name, not the company name. This is very important to know. It should be valued over 2 million. Then for off-plan properties, the development progress does influence on whether you will be eligible for golden visa based on this property ownership. But normally, in most cases, 10% plus is accepted. In case you have you have a property with your spouse and the property value is 2 million, it's totally fine. You will just need to provide marriage certificate attested for the UAE, and then one of you will get golden visa as a main applicant and would be able to sponsor his or her spouse. In case it's unrelated owners of the property, the value should exceed 4 million dirhams. Even if your property is less than 2 million, there are still another option how you can get resident visa through property road. First of all, it's 5-year retirement visas, which is available for applicants over 55 years old with a property value of 1 million dirhams. And another option would be 2-year visa. It's available for property owners at 750k dirhams. There are another types of golden visa. You can just have a look. We're not planning to go into this into details. So it's through high salary, through bank deposit, and through special talent. In terms of the time frame, as you can see, golden visa through property is the quickest to get. We can get your golden visa approval for 5 working days only. And other types of golden visa would take more time. You can see the time frame on the screen. Again, I understand there are a lot of details to be considered. So you are welcome to book a free consultation with one of our experts so we can discuss your specific case. I also want to talk about one more important thing for all people who have any type of assets in the UAE. We highly recommend to register a will. It's really significant to ensure that all your assets are distributed according to your wishes and the Sharia law apply in this case. So you need to protect any assets you have, including business, bank account, property, to make sure that your family wouldn't have to go through a very difficult and long court procedure. We are assisting on two types of will registration. It's DFC will and Abu Dhabi civil will. There are some differences between these two wills. So DFC will can cover assets worldwide, while Abu Dhabi civil will can cover only UAE assets. DFC will price is 18,000 plus VAT per single will and 3 plus VAT applicable for couples only. Both processes can be you don't even go anywhere to register your will. We are more than happy to assist you with this process. About virtual zone in general, as I mentioned, we provide Oh, sorry, I believe we have some technical issues. Just give me a second, please. So our tax and accounting team consists of 70 people, and anyone who attended this webinar qualifies for a free 15 minutes consultation with our experts. And we offer tax-efficient business setups in over than 40 jurisdictions within the UAE. All right, so that's the main points I wanted to discuss with you. So let's now, I believe we do have some time to discuss the questions you might have. Let's just go through them. Jan, can you see the questions?
One moment, Vera. Yes, I can.
Yeah, so we have some questions regarding the mortgage interest rates.
Okay, so again, the mortgage interest rates would depend on an individual client's profile. For example, as a salaried employee, the rates would start at 3.94% fixed for 2 years, excuse me, or approximately 3.98% fixed for 5 years. For self-employed customers, then the rates would be typically around 4.35% fixed for 3 years. And for non-residents, the rates would be hovering between 5.25% and 6.25%.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jan. Jan, may I ask you a question as well? How long does it take to get your mortgage approved in case like you're a UAE resident with source of funds from the UAE? Let's say you're an employee in some company and you have bank statements with regular income, just on average.
Average would be around 7 days. But I think I mentioned earlier that it's potentially possible to get pre-approvals done even same day, but maybe 24 to 48 hours. But on average at the moment, some of the banks are quite slow and are taking 7, 10, 14 days, sometimes even 1 month, even for salaried employees.
Wow, that's impressive. Quite quick process. Thank you. So we have some questions related to Golden Visa. James asking, is there a minimum down payment requirement to qualify for a Golden Visa based on a property valued at more than 2 million dirhams? So thanks for your question, James. So as I was saying, Dubai Land Department removed the requirement to have some specific amount to be paid up for the property. So it's not required anymore. Just the property should be 2 million dirhams or more. And even if you just made down payment for this property and it's mortgaged, it's totally fine. You still will be qualified for 10-year Golden Visa. You'll just need to get the NOC from the bank for the process. That's pretty much it. We have one more question. So I can see there are some questions related to Golden Visa based on high salary. You can just leave your request and book a consultation with our specialist, because golden visa based on high salary, there are really a lot of details which should be taken care of, and our experts can just check all of your documents and make sure that you will be qualified for golden visa. In case there is any missing documents, we will assist to get them done as well. But in general, like your salary, basic salary should be 30,000. You should have a managerial position, and you need to get equivalency certificate, which we also assist with. Jan, could you please respond to the question from Remy?
Rami, yes, indeed, absolutely. Rami, there are no restrictions in terms of the number of mortgages that can be obtained by an individual. However, some banks do limit the number of mortgages that an individual can hold with that particular bank, and also have a limit in terms of the number of mortgages that can be held by an individual across all banks. And in terms of the loan to values, only one mortgage can be held at 80% loan to value, assuming you're an expat residing here in UAE. Any subsequent property purchase by way of mortgage finance would then be restricted to 60%, so 40% down payments for any further property purchases.
Thanks, Jan. So Mohammed has a question related to golden visa. If I have 1.5 million cash and 500,000 dirhams property, then there will be any possibility for golden visa? So look, Mohammed, basically, if we're talking about golden visa through property road, you need to invest 2 million dirhams into the property specifically. So let's consider the scenario that you have one property with a value of 500,000 dirhams, and you would have another property with value of 1.5 million dirhams. So we can just use those two properties so that you can be qualified for golden visa. So it's not mandatory that like one property should be 2 million. Yeah, even if it's less and you have several properties in Dubai, still we can use several properties to get your golden visa approved based on this property ownership. Rakesh is asking if he can have a consultation. Yeah, for sure. You, after the call, first of all, you will get a link to book your consultation. So it's free of charge, so we can discuss your specific case, no problem at all. Then Ashmail is also asking whether he can have a discussion about golden visa. Please feel free to book a consultation, and one of my colleagues will make sure that all of your questions are answered, whether it's property, road, golden visa, high salary, no problem. All right. For off-plan properties, what is the threshold of minimum payment to be made to developer to apply for golden visa? So basically, it's not actually about how much you already paid for your property. As I was saying, what is most important is the percentage of the construction of your off-plan property. So given that we are processing a lot of golden visas every day, we can get your approval even if, in some cases, even if it's 5%, 7% of construction. So it really depends on each case. So we just need to get documents from your side, including statement of account and a code issued by DLD. And we will just check and confirm in advance whether you will be qualified for golden visa at the current stage, or probably there is another like road we can choose to get your golden visa approved through high salary, special talent, or fixed deposit in a local bank. Again, I can see there are some questions related to other types of golden visa. which we can discuss individually during the consultation. We have also a question from Jennifer. Is it possible to register will in Abu Dhabi for Muslim expats? Yes, absolutely, it's possible. So basically the difference between two types of wills we are providing, which is the DFC will and Abu Dhabi will. So DFC will can be arranged only for non-Muslims, and Abu Dhabi civil will we can arrange for both Muslims and non-Muslims. And again, all processes are online. By the way, Jan, could you please elaborate on like personal presence requirement for mortgage? Like, should this person be inside during the whole process of getting mortgage, or how does it work?
No, I mean, for pre-approval purposes, there's no need for everything is done by scan and email. But there would certainly be a requirement for the client to be physically present in the UAE. First of all, to open a bank account with the specific bank that they have applied for a mortgage with, and also to sign the final offer letter and mortgage contract.
Okay, got it. Thanks a lot.
Sorry, just to further elaborate, Vera, once that side of the process has been completed, again, they can leave the UAE and just assign a POA to complete the property purchase on their behalf.
I see. Okay, thanks. Jan, you have one more question from Remy.
Okay, so we do work with international banks such as HSBC and Standard Chartered. However, there are no options. I think Grammy's question is more aligned to utilizing banks from outside of the UAE, and there are no options in that respect.
Okay, thank you, Jan. So we have a question regarding the will registration. So the total price for registering a DFC will, a single will, is 18,000 dirhams plus VAT, including all DFC fees and our assistance. And there is another option of registering Miro DFC will. This option is available for married couples only. This is 23,000 dirhams. And talking about Abu Dhabi will, it's 8,000 dirhams plus VAT, including our support and Abu Dhabi civil court fees. Jan, by the way, I also wanted to ask you, for example, we sometimes have clients who is interested in mortgage, but for example, at that current stage, probably the profile is not strong enough, probably some documents are missing. Would you be able during the consultation to advise like what steps person should go through to make his or her case stronger and get the best rate from the bank?
No, absolutely. As part of the consultation, it's a case of obtaining as much information from a customer to then give him or her the correct advice and guidance in terms of how to set up their individual profile to make it as strong as possible to be able to secure a pre-approval and the final offer of mortgage letter moving forward. So yes, absolutely.
Great. And you have one more question, the last one. Can you see this related to mortgage as well?
Let's have a look. Okay, so again, for a non-resident, based on a potential property purchase price of 1 million, then ordinarily there would need to be a 40% down payment. Now, also, just perhaps to highlight, with some of the banks, they do have a minimum loan requirement. Typically, the minimum would be 250,000 dirhams. Some of the banks, 300,000 or 500,000. For off-plan properties, it's an extremely complicated process. And even for residents here in the UAE, excuse me, it can be quite restrictive in terms of finding a bank that would be prepared to offer off-plan finance. As I mentioned earlier, two main bits of criteria. The build stage of the property needs to be at 50%, and also the first 50% of the agreed purchase price needs to be funded from the client's own resources. And then furthermore, regardless of whether it's a tier one developer or not, the project itself has to be listed with that specific bank as well. And furthermore, for a non-resident, it's extremely difficult to find a bank that would offer off-plan finance. I think Rami has another question for me. In terms of a Sharia-compliant Islamic mortgage or a conventional mortgage across all the banks here in the UAE, currently there are no differences in the terms and conditions and the interest rates, exactly the same. Some banks only offer Sharia-compliant mortgages. Some banks only offer conventional mortgages, but there are a small handful of banks that offer a choice. But with those banks, there are no differences in the terms and conditions. You're welcome, Rami.
So let's just go through the questions in case we missed any of them. So as we do have some time, Anna is asking whether the salary should be 30K, like a basic or total for golden visa through high salary. It's kind of a recently introduced requirement that now immigration requires the applicant to have basic salary, specifically 30. So it used to be like total salary, but now it should be basic. So in terms of equivalency, we have some question. Again, we provide assistance with equivalency. All right. So from your side, we would just need the documents included, attested degree and translation. During the process, Ministry of Education can request additional documents. So we have a question related to golden visa based on property and salary. If you have a property over 2 million and you are on salary in UAE over 40K dirhams a month, do you also require a degree? Are you unable to get a golden visa solely on property and high salary, and there is still requirement for degree? No, not really. So if we're talking about golden visas through high salary route, the degree and equivalency would be required. If we are going through property route, there is no such a requirement to provide your degree at all, just property documents depending on like whether it's off-plan or fully constructed, and your personal documents like including passport, ID, and current visa if you have one.
I think I have a question to answer for Jennifer Vera, and the answer quite simply is yes.
Could you please read the question?
From Jennifer Arkhurst, is finance available for business owners to buy real estate? And the answer is very much so, yes, indeed.
So we have a question from Rakesh. Do you need education transcript for education equivalency? Yes, absolutely. We do need transcripts. And again, during the application, some additional documents can be required to be provided. We would take care of the whole process. We would get the initial documents from your side. In case anything else is required to be provided, we would properly explain you what kind of documents they are and how you can get them. Jan, I think you have one more question from Rami.
Indeed. So, Rami, there's only one bank that categorically states that there's no impact on the mortgage if a customer were to leave the UAE, and that is HSBC. All other local banks reserve the right to switch the current mortgage to a non-resident project, where the impact could be that the interest rates may be higher and also the loan to value may need to be reduced as well. Do you need to inform the bank? Technically, yes, you do. In reality, I'm not sure how many people do actually notify the bank, but in respect of the terms and conditions contained within the final offer letter and the mortgage contract, there is uh, a caveat there that you should inform the bank of any changes.
Jan, Jennifer thinks that the banks make it very difficult for business owners to obtain any form of finance.
I would agree with Jennifer that a lot of banks do have a negative outlook in terms of applications being received from small business owners, but that's where we are here to provide you with solutions that can overcome these difficulties and point you in the right direction, give you good advice and guidance based on your profile and company profile to which banks we could potentially utilize. So please feel free, Jennifer, to contact me, and I'll be happy to provide you with that support.
We have a question related to Golden Visa. How many months of salary statements required for the Golden Visa through high salary? So you will need to provide 6 months bank statement, and one more requirement for Golden Visa through high salary is that you should be a UAE resident at least for 1 year. Rami is asking, what's the best Golden Visa from property or Golden Visa from high salary? Any implications, any benefits? So Rami, basically in terms of the benefits, visa, like whether it's through high salary route or through property ownership, it's issued for 10 years. It gives you opportunity to sponsor your family members for 10 years. So what's important to be considered is that if we are arranging Golden Visa for you through property road, Dubai Land Department will block property for 2 years, so you cannot sell it during 2 years, and then you can be free to sell it, and it will not influence your Golden Visa status anyhow. Again, for Golden Visa through high salary, let's say you got your Golden Visa through high salary approved, and in 1 year or whatever, you decide to leave the company, change companies, whatever. Again, your Golden Visa still will be active, and there will be no consequences of the fact that you change the company or whatever. So basically, it's up to you. Talking about benefits in terms of the processes, definitely, as I mentioned, Golden Visa through property road is faster to get it done, because if you're doing it through us, it takes only 5 working days. And if we're talking about Golden Visa through high salary, first of all, we will need to get your equivalency, which can be some, I would say, time-consuming process. And then Golden Visa itself would take around 12 working days more to get your approval. So let's check if we have any more questions. Let's just go through all of them. Jan, can you see any questions left related to mortgages?
No, I can't see any others, Vera.
All right. I can see one more question related to golden visa. Once I got the golden visa through property, after 2 years, if I sell the property, is the golden visa will be cancelled? No, again, it will not be cancelled. You're allowed to sell it after 2 years. You could potentially even sell it earlier in case you have another property and you could like replace the properties and arrange it to another one. So it's fine. It's not a problem. I think we answered mostly all questions. So we still have some questions remaining. They are, I think they do require like, individual consultation because again, there are a lot of details which we should check and confirm. So thank you so much guys for joining today's webinar. You'll get a link and you're welcome to book a consultation to discuss your specific case. And yeah, I hope we'll have more webinars further to make sure that you have all the information and further assistance from Mortgage Finder and VirtuZone. Jan, do you have anything else you want to address?
No, I'd just like to thank everybody for joining us today and for all of the questions. And as I've mentioned previously, if anybody wants to give me a call, please feel free and I'll be happy to answer your individual questions.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good day and feel free to book a consultation to discuss your specific case.